How's it going, guys, and welcome to today's video. January is almost over and I just now finally got a window in the weather where I could get the four-wheeler and the sprayer out here and get this hayfield sprayed. That's what we're doing today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. Here's a spot in the field where there's a couple of good examples of the weeds that we're going after. This one right here, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's kind of got a velvety broad leaf with almost kind of like a waxy texture to it. And then this other little guy here, which is actually quite similar to the first one. Now, yes, I probably should know what the weeds are called, but to be honest, the name of each specific weed is not really that important to me. I'm looking more at a general category, and that is broadleaf. I'm trying to kill all the broadleaf that I can out here because what I've planted is not broadleaf, so anything that is needs to go. The good news is that the weed pressure out here this year looks a lot better than it did last year. I haven't made a full lap around the field yet, but just from what I've seen so far, I can tell that there's already been an improvement. A lot of this short broadleaf, what will happen after we spray it, obviously the herbicide is going to kill a lot of it, but what it doesn't kill, it will sort of stunt. So what will happen then is this hay, I mean, when the hay is mature, it's almost as tall as I am. So while it's kind of in that process of getting that tall, it'll start shading out all these short plants. And when you cut it, you'll never know that they were there. This is the rig that I'm using today. It's a 750 four-wheel drive Kawasaki four-wheeler pulling a 100-gallon spray tank. For this kind of a job, four-wheel drive is 100% necessary because while this ground is technically dry enough to drive on, it's really not dry enough to drive on in two-wheel drive, especially when you're pulling 100 gallons of herbicide behind you like we are. You can see how much mud is packing on these tires already, and I haven't even made a full lap yet. The sprayer that I'm using today makes about a 22-foot swath, and it tows 100 gallons behind it. It would be nice to have a little bit bigger tank, but honestly, I think if this tank were any heavier, the four-wheeler might not pull it through some of this mud. Inside my tank mix today is just water and 2,4-D. 2,4-D is a broadleaf killer, and my PCA said that I didn't need an adjuvant for this application, so hopefully 2,4-D and water is all we need. On the back side of the sprayer here, you can kind of see how this thing works. Basically, the sprayer is just a pump that pulls material out of that tank and delivers it through these three hoses which go out to all these spray nozzles. So we've got a nozzle about every 18 to 20 inches or so, and that's how we cover all this ground. If you check out my four-wheeler, you'll notice a bunch of camera equipment on the front, but the thing that is missing that I'm really going to miss this year is GPS. I wasn't able to get the four-wheeler that I usually use with GPS, and this one doesn't have it. It's not set up for it. So I'm just going to kind of have to do the best that I can to make my passes straight and well spaced. I've done it before, so I guess I can do it again. We'll see. After I'm all done, I'll fly the drone out here, and that'll really show how straight I can drive, or how straight I can't drive. We're burning daylight and these mosquitoes are about to eat me alive, so I think it's time to get back to work.
Making straight and uniform passes without GPS or flags is not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's also not impossible. The trick that I found worked the best for me was just figuring out a way to line up the sprayer. I did this by looking over my shoulder, and I started to realize that when the end of my spray boom lined up with my previous pass, that was just about perfect. spray rig is set up to cover 8 acres per load. That's 12.5 gallons per acre. The way that we achieve this is by maintaining a steady 5-mile-an-hour speed, but I'll admit that if I get in a patch of weeds that's a little bit thick, I might slow it down to 4 miles an hour. As the last load started to go out and my focus started to shift on getting finished with this project and getting home to eat some dinner, the four-wheeler had other plans.
Well, I've probably got just about, I don't know, 10 acres or so left, not too much. And this four-wheeler is done. It's overheating, started running terribly. So I got the Kubota coming right now. I'm gonna try to finish with that. But yeah, right now I'm just kind of stuck out here. It doesn't seem like I have these kinds of problems with my Honda. So I've been kind of messing around with the four-wheeler a little bit, just to see if I can figure out maybe what the problem is. And now, in addition to overheating, running really bad, now the battery is dead, or the starter won't engage. So yeah, this thing's dead in the water. I think we're gonna have to tow it back to the shop. Yeah, and we're starting to lose daylight too, so it's gonna be an interesting night. All right, Kubota to the rescue. Let's get this finished. Well, the sun is down now, but we finally got finished. Unfortunately, it's too dark to fly the drone out there and kind of see how I did, but to be honest with you, since I was having to drive in the dark, it was getting pretty difficult to see where I was going. So it's probably not something that I'm really going to be able to brag about anyway. My dad's got the four-wheeler here on the battery charger, but I think the battery being dead is probably the least of our issues. It shouldn't have gone dead like that, and the engine shouldn't have started sputtering, and it shouldn't have overheated. So there's definitely a multitude of issues happening here. It could all be related to one thing, or it could be multiple things going on. But that's a problem for another day. Fast forward a couple of days, and just wanted to drop a quick little update in this video before I post it. And that is that after kind of sleeping on it, talking with some friends, and really just thinking about it, it dawned on me that the problem with the four-wheeler has to be the charging system. That would explain all of the symptoms that it was showing. So those parts are in the mail now, and I haven't quite decided if I will make a video about repairing the four-wheeler. If that's something that you guys want to see, let me know in the comments. All right, back to the video. But despite all the issues that I had here at the end of the day, I learned something that actually is going to probably be pretty valuable to me, and that is I vastly prefer pulling the sprayer with a side-by-side than a four-wheeler. So it might even be worth it to kind of retrofit this sprayer a little bit better to actually be pulled by a side-by-side, because when you're out there all day, this thing's a lot more comfortable to be sitting on. Thanks for hanging out in the field with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.